Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, Miss Puji Astuti. And today I would like to presentation about the topic from my final test in Introduction to Psycholinguistic. So in this part, let me introduce myself. My name is Lutfi from the 7 CG 004. And in the session, I choose bilingualism and multilingualism for my topic in the final test from the introducing to psycholinguistic. So why I choose this topic? Because I so interesting why the process from the early until the end, how to human speak in another bahasa or another language, and in this part can explain the step and the reason for the people can can practice in another language. So let's go to the move one. So for the introduction, the bilingualism refers to an individuality ability to use two languages. So bilingualism is refers to how to speak in speaking, how to reading, how to listening, how to writing about the language itself. So when you're trying to adapting a new language for your life. So bilingualism is the basically for the part one if you want to know another language. I mean, before you speak in before you speak in another language, so you have to know the part so essential for the language itself. I mean, you want to know the vocabulary, you want to know the accent, want to how to speak in that language. So bilingualism is referred to individual ability. I mean, you want as a individual in individuality, you have to study the bilingualism refers to how to combine another language into your life. So this the basically from bilingualism. So for the bilingualism is often easier from the children because the children have a lot of time to speak in another language le- to speak foreign language itself because they have a lot of time. Their cognitive can faster the adapting the process of the foreign language and can implication what the data for the from the brain language itself. So the next part of multilingualism is managing and interacting. After you study, you have to interaction the data, the language, and based on the language processing from your brain and try to communication to another. So multilingualism is the next part of the bilingualism. After you study, after you know the language, you can managing the complexity of the language itself by the communication with another people, another society, another language, another country. So bilingualism and multilingualism is the basically study if you want to learning another language. So uh why uh why for my opinions, if you want to study language, you have to know basically the basic from the language itself. So why I try to put it on the reason so important, how to brain you manage more than one language. As we'll know, the language can after cognitive the such as attention by your memory. After you study, you can transfer the data, the language to your brain, and then your memory can process the language, can process the word, can process the uh sentence for your communication for another people. So why this in session I would like to introduce, I would like to explain more expensive about the bilingualism and multilingualism refers. to the psycholinguistic, because the basic of psycholinguistic is the producing the data, the producing the language for the communication in run of people, in a run of you for the language itself. So the introduction of the how to brain process of the important uh to adapting the language itself. So, for the background, in psycholinguistic study on the topic bilingualism and multilingual. So, after you know the meaning of psycholinguistic, so in this topic, so can relate about the theory of psycholinguistic, because the psycholinguistic is the study of to how to encrypt the data, encrypt the process of language itself based on the brain. So in the bilingualism and multilingualism, based on your brain, based on your cognitive area. So your cognitive try to implication what's going on in your brain if you want to learn new English for yourself. So in the language acquisition, so I try to adapting to theory for the bilingualism and multilingualism itself. The first one is separated language processing theory and the theory of language interaction. So both of them, the theory, so it really important to you to have to know, to have a lot to know what's going on, what happened if you study in another language. So it's so important basically if you want to know. So I give you more example, I give you more explain about the multilingualism and bilingualism itself. So next, the mark part. Okay, the first theory is separated language processing theory. So this theory emphasizes the ability to understand the produced language depends not only the source, not only based on you, the source based on the people, based on the cultural, based on the another country to individual process information. After you know what happened in the different language, so you have to know the data, you have to know the word, you have to know the culture itself too, and then you try to application the source to transfer to your brain, and the brain and your memory can process the new language itself. There's the separated language processing theory. And the second theory is about language interaction theory. So this theory suggests the language use depends not only in individual linguistic ability. I mean, language interaction theory, it's similarity from the previous theory, I mean separated language theory. But in the language interaction theory, it interested place so that in adjustment the language choice based on the audience and situation. I mean, uh, so if you ask me, uh, where, why based on the audience and situation? Because if you have in another country, I mean, you have to know the condition, the audience of that country. I give you example. If you from the Indonesia and then you try to moving on to the another country, example English, the society of English, the audience of that the situation can show you what's going on, what the language, what the accent, what's uh the vocabulary itself. So you can resulting what's the phenomena of in the English itself. So I try to put it down in the code switching and borrowing to the language interaction theory, because both of them is most important for the interaction, for the phenomena, because the code switching, uh I mean like if you want to talk in another bahasa, so you can moving on. I think if you from the Indonesia and then you try to move on in English, and then have a code switching. I mean, based on the Indonesian word into the English word, have a code switching to communication. It means borrowing is about if you from the Indonesia and then you try to moving on to English, you can borrowing what they speak, what they vocabulary, what they accent, and then say, and then you try to communication with what you know, what you understand about the culture, about the country, about the language itself. You can communication with another people. So the interaction theory based on the audience and situation, not only based on yourself, but what's going on the situation itself. So if you interaction with another people, another language, another country, you have to know the culture. You're not to using the borrowing because you because a lot of people don't know what you say, what you're talking about. So and then you try to adapting the language itself for the communication with another people in another language. So in language interaction, it's so important to study if you want to learn new English itself. So and then for the analysis from the session, I quote the journal reference based on Fajri and Samsui 2024. The title is The Phenomenon of Bilingualism Among Elementary School Students and Impact on Language Skill. So if you know this topic it's really relate from the topic that I choose. I mean, if I choose the bilingualism and multilingualism, so this topic can explain, can study, can uh more expensive about the bilingualism as well. So you can see the title is the phenomenal bilingualism. So uh the study of the result of the study is to how to know the effective student from the elementary school to know the bilingualism itself, to improve their language, to improve their cognitive from the culture another country. So the impact on language itself based on the in real life, the student can comparative the between one bahasa into the one bahasa or one language into the another language. So I try to interesting about this case study. So the result of the study is show that many particular at the primary school level apply to language their daily activity. So the for the result of the study is how to student can implication another language for the activity as known as like a communication. They can communication with another bahasa. I mean, like especially in Indonesia and foreign language, especially in English. And after the student uh, learn the language based on the media platform, so I mean, this is the part of language interaction theory. I mean, code switching. Why code switching? Because the student using this technique to acquire foreign language vocabulary. I mean, if the student some watching from the another media platform like YouTube games and television itself, and then the can affect their language. They can adapting a new language, adapting a foreign language for itself. I mean, for the study, you can the student can communication with two language. The first language is Bahasa Indonesia, and the second language is English. So in they can adapt the language for the study in in the school, but in their house they always using the Bahasa Indonesia. So the code switching is when some person using two language in one sentence, they can complicate the same sentence both language. They try to mix, they can to adapting vocabulary, they can adapting the sentence for the communication to another people, another person, another society, another country, because they have they have a lot now for the switching technique. So this the result after you watching the YouTube games and some media platform to improve your skill. So that's code switching is more essential part if you want to know another language. And next part is the result of this researcher is a borrowing. Student can apply what is fun from games and YouTube. They can borrow the vocabulary they see so they can use for social interaction. After watching with the after watching the YouTube channel or some media platform, the student can borrow what it is what what they say, what they see. I mean, if if the media platform like YouTube and then have a sentence of another language, for example, the sentence from English, the the student can borrow that sentence to application to adapting for the communication for the people. So borrowing can interact individual effective from the communication because what they see about from the media platform, they can borrowing the sentence, they can borrowing the vocabulary, they can borrowing the word, and they to application for the communication for another people. So this is the result. It's so important if you want to study bilingualism and multilingualism because the both of them have some relate to psycholinguistic, how to process the new data, process the new language, process the new foreign language itself. Because if you want to know, if you want to speak good in another bahasa, so you have to study that topic, bilingualism and multilingualism. It can help you. It easier to study in uh, from the children because the children more have a lot of time, more have a lot the cognitive process, but in adult can also more have some some struggle, some fluency in speak because they have they have the exposure to study in that. So the borrowing or the code switching in bilingualism and multilingualism, it should be studied from the children, from the children. Since we was born, uh we was we have to study language because it's more important to your career, to your communication with another people. So it's so important to know you from the language. So for the conclusion, bilingualism and multilingualism provide important insight. After you study the psycholinguistic, I mean the topic of bilingualism and multilingualism, you have to okay, you have a lot of insight, a lot of cognitive from the how to be good, how to be produce the produce the word, how to speak in another language, how to know the culture of identity from the another country. So psycholinguistic into how the brain process and manage multiple language. As we know, the psycholinguistic the basically from the business and how to produce the data, how to produce the based on your brain, based on your memory, and you can produce the word, you can produce the learn, you can produce the how to speak in foreign language. So it it's so important for your career, for your relationship, for your future because the communication and social identity using bilingualism and multilingualism. And you know, in this era, another language is so important to you because you have to you have to lot of another language because in globalization it's so important to you to adapting the new language for yourself. So with with that, so intense with the study bilingualism and multilingualism, so you can study, you can adapting what's going on in your future, what's going on, what the language that I have to adapting, have to have to have it, it you can compare, you can study with it, so you can bilingual student can develop language skill. That skill can make you easier to communication with another people, another country, without sacrificing the foreign language. So don't don't be scared if you want to speak in another bahasa. Don't be sad. Just try it. Keep trying because it more important if you have a lot of, about the foreign language, because both language you can use for your career, because the career using another language just only one, not only one, but it mean uh I mean in it's good if you have another, if you have another language. So trying to practice your career, improve your career based on your what you say, but also based on what you know about the language itself. I mean, I give you example. If you want to study in English, so try to speak in English, because uh after you uh improve your skill, by the time you know what to say gitu. And trying to uh you want to know what is it. So Uh, thank you very much for your attention. I think that's enough for my presentation. So I mean, don't be scared if you want to know another language. So trying to study, because it important to you, to your career, uh to your career itself. So I'm Lutfi. Thank you all. Thank you very much. See you another time, and bye bye. Mm, 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 mm.